Bam.
Hello. Hola, hola, buen día, buena onda, buena roya a todos.
Rollo.
Buen rollo.
Rollo.
Gracias, tío, gracias. You are in Lingoholics episode 15. We just got the boys, Los Regionales, here today. No guests, but that's okay. Cody and Ian here in Alberta, Marcus in Barca. And yes, the language train of life keeps on rolling. It's a little winter wonderland here in Alberta, a little howling blizzard.
The wind is howling.
We're
howling,
so we're lodged up. We're doing a podcast here this Sunday. Seems to be our day. And yeah, boys, things were happening. The Polyglot Conference happened. We did a little election night live stream for the first time. Had some different friends, amigos drop in. So that's on YouTube. And yeah, language news, like with my job, the language Spanish and French is always a given, but other working on different things, my Korean, German, and Esther, our previous guest, we'll get into a little later. Me and her are doing a little challenge this upcoming month with each other. So Cody knows the language. Maybe we'll get Marcus to guess after.
Yeah,
but,
I'm really interested to see how long it takes Marcus to guess, because it took me quite a while.
Yeah, so me and Esther had a call yesterday, and we figured out how we're going to approach it. It's kind of similar to what me and Cody were doing. Not quite the same competitive element, but we're going to try and push each other to get this language. So.
Well, I can't wait to hear about that. I bet it's a language that I don't even know of.
Well, it's not that absurd.
It's not like when I was texting you about Yoruba the other night.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, not quite.
But I still probably don't know it.
Yeah, you probably,
I do, probably.
I always remember that time we were at Cody's place guessing countries, and or capitals.
Yeah, that's my shit.
Right. Okay. So now you got to take that geographical map in your engineering brain and just put the language on top of it, and then you'll know it.
I haven't studied that language map that intensely.
No, that's your next step. That's your next geography.
Okay, well, why don't we just do it now? Why don't you just
get
guess
this over with?
Yeah.
Okay, you gotta give me a hint.
I just guessed. Cody just started guessing. And I was telling him if he was
Asia,
close.
Somewhere in Asia.
Yeah, technically.
Technically, yeah.
Oh, so not Oceania.
No.
So Asia, technically Asia.
Yes, technically.
Yeah, Asia's massive.
So not Polynesia.
No.
Asia. So continental Asia.
Yeah.
Yes. Just start guessing.
Vietnamese.
No.
Do they speak it in a mountainous region?
Yeah.
Part of the country. Part of the country. Yeah. Mountainous.
Hindi?
No.
Oh God, is he carving the path too? Like I was.
You're kind of on the Silk Road, but yeah. Keep going.
Somewhere in Nepali, is that even a language? Nepali? That's definitely a language.
No, Nepali's a language.
Nepali's definitely.
Oh, Nepalese.
Yeah. It's not Nepalese.
No.
And is it Persian?
No,
he's getting closer. You're getting closer.
It's Armenian or something like that.
You're getting really
Armenian,
close.
Not Armenian.
What Armenian? Armenian or Armenian?
Armenian. I think it's Armenian.
What do they speak in Azerbaijan?
Azeri, I believe, is the name of the language.
Yeah, is it Azeri.
That?
No.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of all these former Soviet Union states, but all of them obviously speak Russian. Then some of them speak Persian as well. Is it a former Soviet Union state?
It's not a former Soviet satellite state.
Now it's hard here.
Just keep going.
It's not as hard as you would think.
But it's on the Silk Road.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mongolia.
No, you're going
wrong direction.
Okay, I'm wrong direction.
Although Mongolia would be hard as hell too.
Yeah.
What do they speak in Afghanistan? Is that Persian?
Pashto
and Persian.
And Dari, that's
Urdu.
No,
no,
you're going back the wrong way.
Okay,
again.
wrong way.
Urdu's interesting because I've heard Urdu is
Kurdish.
You're getting really
I
close.
I gotta take a moment.
Turkish.
So
Tío. Okay, so
Turkish.
there we go.
Yeah.
Turkish.
Shout out to Kurdish though. I would love to do a little Kurmanji. I've always been fascinated with the Kurds since like
the Kurds are super interesting.
Kurds are uber interesting, and there's Kurmanji and Sorani is the other dialect. Kurmanji uses the Latin script, and Sorani uses the Arabic script. But yeah, Turkish is the challenge.
I really like the way Turkish sounds.
Yeah. It's got
it's kind of like Europeanish, Indo-Europeanish, right? But it has, it's like, to me it sounds like, so I haven't listened to a lot of Turkish, but to me it sounds sort of like some mixture of like Arabic, Persian versus, and a little bit of Indo-European.
That's exactly how I'd call it too.
Yeah.
Well, just how you mentioned Indo-European, there's a boatload of French words in Turkish as well, like 5,000 French words in Turkish, like manto. There's actually like a shapka that's from Ukrainian Russian, like some Slavic influence as well.
So it's not the other way around?
Of what?
That French has a bunch of Turkish.
No, because like that was the interesting thing. Like, you know how English is like the lingua franca essentially today of the world. Like that used to be French, right? Like diplomatically in the 19th century. So Turkish has it's crazy. Like just random words will just come up. It'll just be like the French word in Turkish. So that's like a little sprinkling of the influence. But yeah, structurally it's I forget. Lang Focus, shout out to that guy. He has a video explaining the whole it's an agglutinative language too. So you got like prefixes, suffixes, and what Esther taught me yesterday on our call, the infixes they're called. How like
I've seen that. I know what you're talking about. Oh, yeah. Where did I see that? Was that Basque? Is that Basque where you have that?
Basque might have that. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know where I saw this, but I saw some language in Europe, I think. Yeah, in Europe that has prefixes, suffixes, and infixes.
Infixes. Yeah, that sounds
infixes? Like a infixes. No, but I know how that works.
Yeah. Like Hungarian?
Yeah, it might be something like, I don't know.
Hungarian, amongst the polyglots, Hungarian's always like notoriously difficult.
Right.
Finnish,
Finnish too, yes. Well, they're actually in the same family,
yeah,
Finnish and Hungarian.
Which is so, how did that happen historically? That's so weird, hey?
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
That's interesting though. So how much have you dabbled in Turkish so far?
A bit. Like I used to do throughout this year, like those power hours I tell you guys about. My dabble power hour.
Hey, you got to tell the listeners.
So for the listener, because so how does one quantify their dabbling? I just set a timer, 15 minutes. So the dabble power hour for me is 15 minutes of Portuguese, 15 minutes of Ruski Yazik, little Russian, 15 minutes of Italiano, and 15 minutes of Turkish. That's how I finish it off. And Turkish is the slowest moving because obviously Portuguese and Italian, I use my Spanish and French to motor that along. For Russian, I use my Ukrainian to get that. But for Turkish, just 15 minutes slow going with that. But now, since it's become official with Esther, the challenge that we're doing, hopefully to do like an hour a day. And
so before you move into the Turkish, or before you go back to the Turkish, so during this dabbling power hour, what do you do exactly during these 15 minutes?
I go on a site, Memrise, which I think I mentioned.
Okay, you do Memrise.
It's my jam. I love it. It's like a flashcard system. if it has the audio. So basically I just go, so right now I'm doing the Duolingo course on Memrise. So it's all of the vocabulary from Duolingo on Memrise because I just like that format. I click on the course. Sometimes if I don't want to like type or anything, I just go to the preview mode, and it's just like clicking through the flashcards, like the greetings section, the numbers section, the colors section, blah blah blah.
So you do strictly vocabulary?
Basically, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Strictly vocabulary. And then from there, once I felt like I've built a base of vocabulary, then I'll go start watching YouTube or short readings or podcasts or I feel like even when I was doing the Korean challenge with Cody, that's how I started with Korean too. Just vocab. And but then vocab in like short phrases, so you are starting to get like notice structures.
Okay.
And yeah, man. So I'm just on Memrise for the whole hour, 15 minutes, Portuguese, Russian, Italian, and Turkish. And then just as long as they got the audio, right? So it's every time you see that flashcard, I put my AirPod in and just like gule gule, like goodbye in Turkish, or görüşürüz, or günaydın. So every time I hit that flashcard, my brain's just hearing it. And from there, hopefully get into there's a few easy Turkish videos on YouTube. Esther, we kind of have a Google Doc, so we're sharing resources with each other.
Nice.
So something like she does, she just listens to like a podcast that she doesn't understand anything, but she's like just getting used to the sounds.
I do that too.
Right. So would you use a podcast or
no music?
Music. Music, right? That's what
I find music like that's not like rap or anything like the clear music with clear lyrics, slower melody with clear lyrics, and I just listen to that even though I don't understand. Really.
Right.
And that's a great way to just kind of like soak your brain in the language.
Get those sounds, just get a feel for what's the music like and the culture. And so Turkish is it. And it kind of fits into my German puzzle actually, because hopefully if I go to Germany in a couple of years, there's 2-3 million Turks in Germany.
There's a lot.
Yeah. So be fun to have a little A2 B1 Turkish in the bag too while I was there. So are you finding out? Are you looking that up?
No, I just I googled something. There's a fun fact. So I'm pretty sure I'm fact checking myself now, but I'm pretty sure Berlin is like the second biggest city in terms of Turkish has the second biggest Turkish population of any city worldwide.
Right.
I'm gonna fact check myself.
Okay. Yeah, because I've always heard of that community. And well, you guys been to Germany.
Yeah.
So
I can confirm. Yeah. There's a lot of Turkish. There's a lot of Turkish people there. There's like Turkish restaurants and everything. They're like, honestly, Turkey is to Germany as Mexico is to the United States.
Gotcha. Right. So like, even if the challenge doesn't go super far after like we do the 1 month, just even knowing just a bit, I think just help. Well, it gives the dabbling more of a purpose than just kind of random.
So I'm just gonna quickly go back and retract what I just said. So it's definitely not like the biggest or the largest Turkish population in the world. It has about 250,000 Turks in Berlin, which is still a lot, right?
Still sizable.
So it's the largest Turkish community outside of Turkey in the world, but that's about it. I don't
even Berlin doesn't have actually that many people. I think there's only 3 million people that live there.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's like all German cities are not. They don't have as many.
Yeah, 3.6. 3.6.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh damn.
Okay, so that's still big. I don't know what the population of Istanbul and Ankara are. The population.
Oh, they're massive. Istanbul's like 15 million people or something. It's massive.
Yeah.
Cody, how do you know this? It's pretty much exactly 15 million.
Yeah, you remember how you're saying capitals is your shit? Well, numbers and
but capitals usually don't change. Numbers change all the time.
Yeah.
I'm just really smart.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's interesting. I'm glad you're learning Turkish.
Yeah. It's new like a gluten of language.
So what's the premise of this challenge with Esther?
Well, she wanted to do it this kind of back in September. I don't know. I didn't get into all the reasons that she wants to learn it. Like, she's interested in the culture of Turkey as well. Like, we even have a section. Esther. Remember how she reads like 7 books at a time? Like,
yeah,
she reads a lot. So she even had some Turkish authors down that she'd like to get into. So the premise is basically, let's do something similar to me and Cody, and we have like these little checkpoints. So first week, like, our goals: recognize basic words, basic greetings, like numbers, etc. And then we're going to check in with each other. Hey, how's that going? And we're actually going to keep a daily log on our Google Doc, being like, hey, this is what we worked on today.
Nice.
And like, but she says, like, it's not super structured for her, because like a lot of language learners, you got to be in a certain mood certain times to do it. So it's not like we're being like super militant or like uber structured. It's like, hey, today I had a chance to do it for 3 hours. Today I only had a chance to do it for like 5 minutes. So kind of that variation will play into it too. But on average, hopefully we're getting like a decent amount of time that we can hit these goals that we set.
This is such a good idea. I think learning a language with somebody with this, and like having a plan and like helping each other out and giving each other support, it's so much more fun that way, hey?
But it sounds like this is not as combative as the Korean War.
No.
Oh, no.
No, it's not. No, it's like,
I'm actually just listening to this. I'm a little bit jealous now. I'm like, oh, like, I mean, the Korean War was fun, but it was like, it felt like a battle. It didn't feel like we were like helping each other.
We talked about the resources we shared, and
yeah, but we didn't create a Google document.
No, we
like,
didn't.
Hey, like, how's this doing? Like, here, let me help you out with this.
No, we didn't. But maybe this, for the listener, this could be something you could try with somebody. Pick whatever language that you're mutually interested in, and maybe even, I can show that once we start making our short videos here, show like what exactly we're doing, what the doc would look like. And I think eventually, I don't know, have you guys heard of the Huggins International Challenge?
No.
Mm-mm.
So it's basically 1 month, and you're in a group. So let's say I'm doing Turkish December 1st. So on December 1st, you have to give, I think it's between like 30 seconds to a minute, and it's a different topic every day. And it starts basic, but it ramps up. So like the first day, it'd be like, introduce yourself, like in Turkish. Second day, talk about your hometown. Third day, talk about what you like to eat. Fourth day, talk about where you work. And it just keeps building and building up. And actually, like, even by like day 10, you're like working hard to like be able to have the vocabulary and the structures to talk about that. So you make that recording, it goes into a common document. So let's say all 3 of us were doing Turkish, like all 3 of our recordings would go in, and then you get feedback from other. So I guess the whole premise is you hope that there's a native Turkish speaker somewhere in the competition. Like, he might be doing a different language, or she might be doing a different language, but then they come listen to you, and then they give you feedback on that day, being like, oh, this is how you pronounce this is how you pronounce that. So you get that feedback, and then you just kind of apply it as you go from day to day to day. And then, by the 30th day, man, you might be talking about like, how did Einstein discover his thing? Like, it ramps up, but it keeps you like accountable each day, because like, here's what you need to talk about each day.
Yeah, that's cool. italki does something like that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I think they call it like a 30-day language challenge or something like that. But yeah, essentially you just like send a recording and people correct you and give you suggestions. So I think that whole idea of like being accountable with language learning, either through an assignment like that or just having a partner, is something that's like super helpful for a lot of people, myself included, because sometimes I struggle to hold myself accountable to things. But like if there's somebody else involved, like that will always like kick my ass into gear.
Yeah, man. So
what I'm finding right now with my italki classes is that I get really excited. I get really excited for the class essentially every week. So before the days leading up to it, I go extra hard because I know I'm gonna have the class, and I have this feeling like I have to prepare myself, because it's kind of like the meetups, like you go to the meetups, but to go to the meetups, you have to kind of, it's only really valuable if you prepare for it, because you do all studying by yourself beforehand, and then you go there and apply it. That's the point of going to the meetups, right? Going to these language or conversation groups, right? So in order to get as much out of the class as possible, I go extra hard the week before. And I feel like this is some kind of incentive for me, because I know in the back of my head, okay, I have this class, I have to go hard, because I have to show my teacher that I'm improving every class. And I guess that's like an example of that, of holding yourself accountable. I guess that at least it works for me really well.
Oh yeah. I think having that incentive, meetup, language partner, teacher, whatever it be, like it's kind of like, did you do your homework? Essentially, because
essentially
if you do your homework, you're gonna it's gonna be like a repeat. It's just gonna be the same thing, and you're gonna know that I didn't really advance this week. I didn't progress, and I mean, nothing. It's better than nothing, maybe. Like, let's say you did have to, like, you didn't do a thing, and you showed up to your next lesson, and you just sound the same, nothing, similar mistakes. Okay, but you did something. But to really progress and then keep that incentives going, then you got to just put in the time, right?
Yeah.
You need.
So basically what I do is that during the week, I listen for new expressions.
Okay.
Right, in my podcast, for example. So I listen for new expressions and new words that I then try out during the class.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like that's a thing. So for example, if I come across an expression that I find particularly interesting, like a brand new expression, I'm like, okay, I tell myself, I have to try this during my next class, or I have to use this in a conversation. It doesn't necessarily have to be in my class. It could just be with like some random person here in Barcelona. I just have to use it. I have to apply it. I have to find a way to apply it. It's like I do this as well with English. So sometimes if I learn a new word, like in the morning, when I wake up, I have like the word of the day. So I get this email with a new word and its definition and everything. And I set the goal for myself to use that word in a sentence that day.
with someone.
With someone.
Yeah.
So what was today's word?
So obviously now I'm totally off this because I'm not in an English speaking environment at all. But I can tell you today's word if you want. I can.
Yeah. I get a Spanish day of the word every day emailed to me as well.
I do. I have that as well. I have it as well now. So I signed up for that last week. Octothorpe is today's word.
What?
An octothorpe, and it's the official name. It's the official name of the hashtag symbol. It's an octothorpe. It's like the hashtag symbol is called. Yeah, the number sign. The numbers, exactly. It's a number sign too. That's an octothorpe.
It's an octothorpe.
Hashtag no octothorpe. Yeah. Let's go.
Here's an example. Messina, which is a name, chose to use this symbol for collating Twitter searches in 2007 because he wanted a sign that could be input from a low-tech cell phone. He had two options, the octothorpe or the asterisk. He chose the former. Yeah, so Twitter, they were choosing between the octothorpe and the asterisk for the hashtag.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. Like one should always, even English, improving one's own lexicon all the time, right?
All the time, man.
Like, and I think even I take that for granted. Like, does that mean I should be reading more? Should I be like getting a word of the day? Like, I think, we're sometimes as a language learner, you're so focused on the other languages, cultures, but it's like you forget, one's own lexicon. I forget Sam Harris, one of his Ask Me Anythings years ago. He got a question about how can I just improve, because he's a guy that uses words that I've never heard of sometimes, like in English. I'm like, whoa, what?
Defenestrate.
Oh yeah, exactly. Defenestrate. Exactly. Well, I learned that in Korea.
When he used that in a podcast, that was legendary.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't remember the context, but that was legendary.
Yeah, because Pinche Colo told us about it, and so it's continually progressing. And I'm finding that too. Sorry, are you talking about, like, with Spanish expressions? Are you talking about like dichos, idioms?
Everything, man.
Everything, yeah. Because with AJ, my roommate, like, I had a list of phrases the other days, and like there was one, tener chancla, or tener. Oh geez, now I'm gonna have an Euler moment here. It's about like having connections with someone. So it's an expression I never heard before. Then I asked him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is what this means." So it's like even 10 years now, speaking like fluent Spanish, I still find like, oh man, all these idioms and all these expressions, like it's something you just completely can keep adding to the arsenal, because I think you sound way more like a native speaker.
For sure.
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So It's just like you said, though, like, okay, I'm gonna make a conscious effort to apply this.
Yeah, but that's the only way to do it, because if you just read it once, you're never gonna remember it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It's good. Even I think I've been listening to, because there's all this stuff about on YouTube being like, oh, learn the language in 3 months, learn in 6 months, learn in a year, and then people are just like, look, you're constantly always learning that. Like a language is like a lifetime project in a way. And looking back of 10 years speaking Spanish now, it's totally the case. Like, even if I'm trying to pick up some basic literature, I'm still learning lots. I'm still like pushing to like further deepen my expressive abilities in the language. So it never really stops. You pick one language and that's going to be a voyage the rest of your life, if you decide to keep going with it.
Yeah, it's a journey that doesn't stop. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah. So
yeah, I love learning new vocabulary. It's in all languages.
Apapachame.
Apapachame way. Yeah, exactly. Another word I learned yesterday was despistado. You guys know what that means?
¿Qué significa?
¿Qué significa, güey? Tío.
Despistado is if you're like absent-minded. That's the official translation.
Oh,
if you're like scatterbrained, or if you're whatever. so yeah, pinche cola. That's what you can say later if you're frustrated.
¿Cómo?
Estoy un poco despistado.
Despistado.
Yeah,
that's a hard word to say.
It could also be a noun, so you can be a scatterbrain. He's es un despistado.
Despistado.
Yeah, learn, expand your vocabulary, folks. Very, very fun and rewarding, gratifying. There's nothing more gratifying than learning a new word and incorporating it into your daily vocabulary.
Oh yeah. Another really good feeling is like when you learn a new word or expression one day, and then you're either talking to someone or you're listening to like a conversation, and you hear that word and you're like,
yes, yeah. Recognition of it. Yeah, even if you don't use it per se, then recognizing it, like,
and you're like, you hear it, you're like, yes, I know what that
means. I'm in on the joke now too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and there's multiple mediums to do it, right? Like, I have like lots of language ambitions. Like I just want to like rewatch La Casa de Papel, Money Heist, and just pause it more and be like, okay, what exactly did Tokyo or El Profesor say there? And then like write it down. Like I want to like dig into, or Club de Cuervos, whatever. Pick your show and just like really hone in on some of those like Espanolismos, right?
You know, I actually have. I want to let's talk about this because I've considered doing the same thing. But when I'm watching a TV show, I'm doing it more so I can just relax and be entertained. And I find it a little bit not necessarily stressful, but I view it as work if I'm pausing it. I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna write this down. Like I just want to chill and like watch the TV show. Even if I don't understand everything, like that's fine. Like I'm just watching for the entertainment value. That's just the way.
No, I'm sorry. I should have prefaced this with I've watched Casa de Papel twice through. So this is the third time watching. So it's kind of past the pleasure, past the recreation part. It's more of the let's study this. But I agree. Like there's that new La Revolution show on France.
Have you watched that?
I watched one up. I think when you were here last time.
Wait, that's on Netflix, right?
On Netflix.
We gotta watch that in January.
Yeah. Oh, we should talk about that coming up later.
Yeah.
But that's a show. Yeah, I wouldn't do that the first time watching a show. Maybe
definitely not.
Like actually, another thing I was doing, I found the German show on Netflix, Dark. I found the transcripts in in German and in English, and they were like parallel, right? Like, so like 15 minutes the Deutsch phrase and then 15 minutes the English phrase. So it was already translated for me. So then what I like to do, and then along with this memorize, I like to build my own memorize courses because I think it's a good way of learning, just making the course itself. So I'd be like, copy and paste the German thing, copy paste the English, and yeah. So just in terms of like a medium, getting these phrases, I think TV shows is great. Music, I mostly would do for. Actually, no, that's not true. I did the whole lyrics of the first Rammstein album. I just copied and pasted them all.
Solid.
And it was like, I'm just gonna learn the lyrics.
That's what I do, but with reggaeton.
Claro. Conejo malo.
That's how I learned all my Latino slang.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. So wow. Speaking of like for learning or for pleasure, like, we were just talking about this before the pod actually. Like Cody's talking about how you would, even if you didn't speak any German, you just like German music.
Oh yes,
yeah, K-pop now too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you can get like just this is what I would do recreationally, and I'm learning something at the same time. Like that's a solid combo.
This is something that's really good that I've been really looking into lately too, is like tricking your brain into viewing it more like it's just pure pleasure and recreation instead of viewing it as something like work. And I find it's so much easier when you're sitting down and you're just like, okay, like you have that fire in your belly, right? Like you have that passion. That's something that is elusive to me. Although this is my passion, like learning languages, it takes a lot of work, man. Like it's so much effort.
Labor of love.
Yeah, that's right. But and I don't know, I have a tenuous relationship with it sometimes. And like I get these bursts of motivation where I'm like, yes, like let's go and do this. And like I don't have to like convince myself to do it, but there will be some times where I'm like feeling really lazy. I'm like I just want to like turn my brain off.
So wait, let's talk about this because this is something I think about a lot. So when you feel lazy, what do you do? Cuando estés vago.
Vago?
Vago. Do you guys know what vago is?
I don't know. ¿Qué significa?
Vago is a lazy bum, a lazy person.
See, that's good, right? Because in my head, it's like perezoso, but
no, vago, tío. Perezoso, no.
Perezoso is lazy.
See, but that's perezoso is that's the adjective. Vago is a noun.
Okay, yeah.
Cuando estás vago or cuando estás un vago.
Yeah, no, sorry, but I like how you just taught me something. So now, like, for a lazy reference in my head, I don't just have perezoso. I also have that now too.
Vago.
Give you an example right now on the pod of how expanding. Okay, but your question is, what do you do when you're feeling lazy?
Yeah, what do you do when Cody, you just said, oh, like sometimes I don't feel like doing languages. I feel so lazy. So my question to you is, what do you do when you procrastinate? Or what do you do when you don't do like what do you do when you're lazy?
YouTube or Netflix. And in the past, it's been video games, and that's something that like I used to struggle with because like I wouldn't just spend like an hour or two playing video games. I would like waste my entire time like playing video games.
Cody, so here's my response. What do you do on, or my follow-up question, what do you do on YouTube or Netflix?
I usually just like watch either science fiction stuff or like
in the target language.
No, usually in English if I'm feeling really lazy, because honestly, the best, most quality material is all in English. So when you're
really?
Well, I think maybe now it's changing a little bit, but typically, like if you want to watch something just really cool, it's probably gonna be in English.
So first of all, my point that I'm trying to make here is that if you're feeling lazy, you don't have to sit down and study hardcore. You can just throw on a video in your target language.
Exactly. Yes. And that's how I've been like tricking my brain into like always being in language mode.
I agree. You gotta just do something light.
But that's what I like about languages. It's so easy to do something light. And if I'm lying down and watching Cuervos, por ejemplo, that's not like I'm not using my brain like crazy. I'm still, that's very relaxing for me. Or like on YouTube as well, like just throw on some easy material and just like relax. No pasa nada, güey. Especialmente if it's like Spanish and not like that'd be different if it were like French, because my French sucks. But my Spanish is actually pretty good, so I can actually relax my brain and consume material without feeling strained.
Yeah, I feel like there's a dial with language learning that especially once you do it long, like you can turn up your intensity like big time if you're like really honing in the show, or like man, I need a nap pretty much every day. Like just teaching takes a bit out of me, so but then like when I'm just flying down, I just put on the AirPod, listen to Easy German or like Spanish. Shout out Easy German. Like I'm not studying a thing. I'm like literally trying to fall asleep, but my brain is still like.
So basically, what I do when I procrastinate from things, I still do something in terms of like, it's like if I'm just feeling really lazy and I don't feel like doing anything strenuous, I don't feel like straining my mind, I just lie down and I throw on some Spanish YouTube video or a Spanish Netflix show or lo que sea.
Totally.
That's my like the lowest level. That's the lowest I sink on my perezoso level.
Bago. Yeah. Right. So, and I think there's little life hacks too. Steve Kaufman was tweeting or YouTubing about this the other day, how like he has to do the dishes, clean the house, and do laundry like everyone ever. So why not put your AirPods in, your headphones, like I say, and Raka, talk to me in Korean, Raka, whatever you're listening to. And man, do the dishes and you got some language learning done. So that's not necessarily procrastinating, that's more optimizing like what you're taking advantage of.
Yeah, of course. But my point is that I don't really see it as work. I don't really see it as work. Like I there's nothing I'd rather listen to than a good Spanish podcast.
I've been tapping into this perspective, and it's really helping my language stuff. So all aboard.
Because I have nothing else to do than to study. Like there's nothing else I'd rather do. Like, I have no interest in video games, right? And I'm not looking to suddenly start I'm not trying to take up video games because I know that that would just be a distraction.
Such a waste.
You know how you stay away from video games? Sucking in video games. So I'm eternally grateful I suck at video games.
Yeah, same. I've never been good at a video game ever. I was semi good at FIFA.
Sega.
I was semi good at FIFA when I was in high school, but then after that significantly dropped, and I suck at everything.
All right, so just while we're on this topic of improving languages and these phrases, I want to ask you, Marcus, specifically, how you feel about your Castellano. Because you've been 2 months?
I'm glad you asked, man. I'm glad you asked.
We just talked about all of this stuff. And what's the actual product look like right now?
Dude, I feel like I've improved so much. Por ejemplo, I'm going to give you an ejemplo. Subjuntivo, subjunctive, I'm mastering it. De verdad, no creo que sea tan difícil. No sé que vosotros penséis.
Pero que siga con esto.
Sí, claro. So I've been just honing it so hard, and I've been diving into the nitty gritty grammar even, and that's something that I haven't done before really. So I've been going deep and looking at specifically the subjunctive case in Spanish and trying to master it, because you can't really speak Spanish without using the subjunctive. You're not firing on all cylinders unless you're
that's a better way of putting it. That's a better way of putting it.
You can't speak it well without using subjunctive.
Right, because it's such an important way for communicating and expressing yourself. So essentially, if you don't know what subjunctive case is, so if you speak English, you probably don't know what subjunctive case is. It's basically a verb mood. So it's a verb mood that you use. So it's a different style of conjugation to express preferences essentially, or hypotheticals.
Here, okay, keep talking.
And I don't really know how to explain it, because when I first was introduced to the subjunctive mood in Spanish, I didn't really understand what it was and what its purpose is. And the only way, he's got his book out, the only way to learn subjunctive is to basically just soak your brain in it.
Yep.
And then after a while, you're going to start understanding what it is and why it's so useful.
All right, here we go, boys. This is, okay, for the YouTube listener, you can see it. This is my first ever Spanish textbook. Shout out 2009, University of Saskatchewan. And yeah, dude, like I remember, listen, I would use this. I've made a lot of money off this book, tutoring. It's paid for itself. But yeah, dude, like what you said, it's that breakdown of the subjunctive case and how applying it all. So just you talking about like all the uses of the subjunctive just brought me back like on memory lane, man. So so subjunctive with emotion, right? Working on that, like es ridículo que, es terrible que, es triste que.
Es ridículo que seas mamón.
Yeah. All right, next part, subjunctive with doubt, disbelief, denial. So
that's the one that really sticks out for me.
Duro que. Oh, then have you gotten to like subjunctive past tense yet? Because that's pretty easy. That one, like.
Si no hubiera el subjuntivo, no habría el mismo
idioma. Yeah, viera, that's an example. So it's like, dudo que viera el juego del Barça ayer. Like, so yeah, man, it's, and then with the conjunctions, right? When you use it in situations like a menos que, antes que, con tal que, like sometimes, or para que is a tricky one for me sometimes too.
Really? That's always been a relatively easy one for me.
Okay.
Which one? What are we talking about?
Para que.
Like conjunctions. Like para que.
Para que hacerlo? Por ejemplo? What's the context here?
So estoy estudiando con mi libro para que yo mejore mi español. Por ejemplo.
Vale.
Para que. So it's like little like, oh, it's like I'm hitting up it's like kind of like doing a hurdle, like a subjunctive hurdle in your mind. Like, oh yeah, I gotta hit para que here. So let's switch subjunctive. Yeah, it's I think it's one of those things I don't worry about it a ton here in a Canadian context. Like I never bring it up when I'm teaching Like there's
that's
so
way past high school.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's for a person who wants to become a
Exactly.
fluent Spanish speaker,
You
like
can
an
teach
advanced Spanish speaker.
expressions like que tengas un buen día, but I'm not going to be like, oh, this is the subjunctive case.
Yeah, you can't do that. That'd be totally overwhelming. Like you'd have to be at our level in Spanish in order to start working on it.
By the way, that just I want to bring this. I want to see if you guys have any experiences with this. It's kind of embarrassing. So, have you ever had any moments with any of your languages where you get to like a pretty good level, but you run into some situation where there's like something super basic that you should know, but you don't?
Oh.
Like, I'll tell you an example. I think the most embarrassing example that I had was with German, actually. And I went on my my study program to Germany, and we were at the hostel, like the second day or something that I was there. And I needed something from the front desk, so I went up to go get it from the lady, and just was just talking with her casually, and then I just paid for it, and I went to go leave, and I went to go say have a good day, and I was like,
pause.
Wie sagt man, have a good day auf Deutsch?
Yeah.
I was paused there. I was like frozen, and like this lady was like, well, like, what are you doing? And I was like, and then I kind of just like,
yeah.
Oh. Yeah, that happened to me this week. So after the election episode, so I was up all night. I didn't go to bed at all, and I just went straight to work. And then I was in Spanish mode talking to my compañeros, and I forgot like the most rudimentary words, like tarde. I couldn't figure out how to say later or late.
To be fair though, like you were running on zero sleep.
Yes, that's true. But that happens. Like if you're stressed or if you're tired, you're communicating. And I noticed this in all my language, like every single language that I speak well. So I speak 3 languages relatively well, and all these, even English and Swedish. I like when I'm tired, I have a hard time communicating in them sometimes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think
for sure. And
everyone gets a pass on that. But what I'm talking about is like with this, like I had not learned how to say have a good day in German. I literally didn't know what it was.
Yeah. I mean, one has blind spots sometimes. Like,
well, I mean, like I miss you still. Sometimes I screw up ser and estar, even though I know I'm doing the wrong thing, but it just comes out the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly.
I know the difference between the 2 verbs, and I'm like, if I were to take a test, I would get 100% right every single time. Right. But sometimes when I'm just speaking, I mess up because that's the way it works.
Yeah, like just being cognizant, I think it's like, I use ser, or I should use the star. Like, c'est la vie, c'est la vie. But yeah. So
but I mean, like, keep going.
How much longer you got in Barca?
A month, más o menos. A month, más o menos. But yeah, it's been really good to me. As I told you before the pod, I've been incredibly productive.
Yeah, man.
Incredibly productive. So I've gotten a lot of work done, research-wise, and I've gotten a lot of language improvements done. So I'm very happy with my own personal and professional development.
Yes.
As of right now.
Back to the homeland.
Now I'm going back to the homeland for a little bit. And then Canada, baby, January 8th.
Oh yeah, is that the official date?
That's the I still don't have my ticket, but I'm gonna buy it within the next couple of days.
We got a date.
Okay, let's talk about this. By the way, the
January 8th.
January
8th. The trailer. Oh, not the trailer, but like the
sneak peek.
The sneak peek of what we're gonna do in January.
Yeah, we got.
Cuéntanos, tío. Dime.
La Casa. All right, what's the idea?
Do you want me to talk about this?
You talk about it. Let's La Casa.
So we are going to be doing the Lingoholics language boot camp.
Casa de Lingoholics.
Yeah. So when Marcus comes back to Canada, he's going to get fast tracked because the government of Canada has changed their policy. So they're gonna they do a COVID test as soon as you arrive in Canada.
That's official.
Now.
That's happening.
Is that? I don't know,
official. Marcus, that's 100% official. I'm not going to quarantine.
Right.
Okay.
You get the test. Yeah.
but when Marcus gets back to Canada, he is going to come straight from the airport to Ian's house. And I'm going to come from my house in Cochrane, also to Strathmore, to Ian's house. And we're just going to hunker down for a couple weeks and just go super hard with languages the whole time. We're not going to be we're not going to be allowed to speak English the whole time.
Oh, we decided on that now?
Pardon?
We decided on that?
I just decided on it.
I'm fine with that. I mean, yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and I think we should have like some kind of a rule. Like if we're caught speaking English, I think like
10 push-ups.
Yeah, or some kind of a penalty. Like obviously we can ask how to say words, but if you say something in English, like you get punished in some way.
We could just transition to Spanish. Have Spanish be like the standard language, and then we could screw around with it. That Spanish will be the lingua franca.
Well, yeah, because we're gonna have Alejandro in the house too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can like dip into Spanish, but no English. And then I don't know if we want to set the date, like a French day, German day.
I'm very interested in getting back on track with my German and my French because I've been neglecting those languages for way too long.
I would love to help you guys with your German.
Yeah. I think Ian, you would be very interested in German as well. So doing some intense German during these days would be pretty sick, no?
And we got to go hard with French too.
Yeah, I'm down with that too. Like my motivation for learning these or improving these languages is very high right now.
Yeah. Alejandro might be looking at us like, what the?
Yeah, but when we get tired, we'll shoot the shit with him in Espanol.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, man, that's gonna be watching sports, watching some movies, put the language on, watching, man. Like Alejandro's got the access to the Hispanic ESPNs and stuff, and man,
nice.
The World Series this past month in Spanish was awesome. Like,
I watch a lot of baseball in Spanish.
Dude, yeah, there's this particular
Lanzadores.
or I forget the guy's name. To give him credit, the one announcer whenever a home run gets hit. And he's like, no, que diga no a esa pelota. Like, call that. It's like, oh, I taught it to my class the other day, and they're just like, oh, man. Home run, ways. Yeah.
That's legendary.
Like that. So when you just have that like on in the background, you're like continually soaking stuff up. So.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Fun and then
Español, tío.
Casa los Lingoholics.
Yeah. So Cody, I was meaning to ask you because now we talked about what Ian is currently doing with his language learning, and we talked about my progression with my Castellano. How you doing, bud? What are you working on?
Oh man, I'm just blasting away at my Korean.
Cody's rocking it.
Yeah, I'm actually I've been able to dedicate a bit more time to it, and I've been changing up my methods a little bit. And like I said before, I've just been getting more into the idea of just how can I say? Oh, sorry.
Salud.
Yeah, gracias. I've just been getting into the idea of more like hacking into the idea of like viewing it more as recreation instead of work. So I've been much more motivated and much more disciplined in with my language learning, I guess you could say. And yeah, my Korean is going really well. I think my only thing that's like lacking for Korean right now is my speaking, because my listening is getting pretty good, and like my vocabulary is pretty decent now. Like I know quite a lot of words. I would say I'm easily A2, and I think with just a bit more speaking practice, Ian and I are going to start taking a class Tuesdays. With a couple of our friends. And I think once I start doing that regularly and like start talking to Korean people on a regular basis, like I'm going to be at that click moment in no time.
Click.
So what about italki? Italki classes.
Trying to save money.
Are you talking about teaching or taking them for?
No, taking them.
Yeah, I'm holding off on italki just because I gotta save money.
Yeah.
Sell a kidney.
Yeah. No, but yeah, so Korean is that'll be my main focus for quite a while. And also just with my other ones like my French, German, Spanish, and my Chinese, I mostly either just like talk to friends, or I listen to podcasts, or I'll go on to Reddit or WeChat. WeChat is like the Chinese social media app. And also I've been using a couple apps for reading. I've been trying to get into reading more Korean. And
reading's let's pause on reading. What do you guys do for reading? What have you guys been doing?
So I can touch on this real quick. Journalism mostly. Okay. Recently, I've been doing a lot of journalism. So Spanish, reading Spanish journalism. Well, yeah, some of that, but mostly New York Times in Spanish. There's Spanish version. And with everything that's been going on politically right now in the US, there's a bunch of really good journalism and really good analyses out there in Spanish, especially in Spanish.
Right. Yeah, I should try that. Yeah.
Something new that I've been doing, and maybe you guys have we have our Lingoholics group chat, and I've been sending these quite a lot. It's like links from Reddit, and that's something that I've been doing. Is like I've been using so I find it kind of funny. Is like a lot of people go onto the German language learning or the French language learning subreddit, but when they really could be getting a lot more from just going onto the France subreddit or the Germany subreddit. And that's what I've been doing lately, where you get like authentic native speakers discussing stuff. And it's like I've been like getting really into it, because it's like all these people who natively speak these languages just like shooting the shit on Reddit, and it's like it's really cool to read all that stuff.
Cody, I've never used. I don't think I've ever gone on Reddit other than looking for sports streams. But my opinion was that Reddit, or what I thought was that Reddit was basically just filled with trolls. So are you saying that it's actually productive?
Man, so I think I told you guys this before, but like the way I view Reddit is like there's lots of good material and there's lots of good, interesting information. Like there's lots of really there's lots of funny stuff. There's lots of cool news stories and interesting pictures and videos and stuff like that. But at the same time, like, if you get involved in the community and like you read all the comments and stuff like that, it's like, I don't know, like there's a lot of assholes on Reddit. Like
or a bunch of trolls, a bunch of people that don't have anything better to do than to just sit there and make stupid comments on stuff.
A lot of cynical people on Reddit, but I mean, in terms of like the actual bulk of like what you see, as long as it's like YouTube, like it's like don't go into the comment section, like because you're just gonna find garbage there.
Trollandia.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys, Mark's your like news, Cody Reddit.
I'm a little bit more academic in my language learning.
I sent you guys the links. Punto y Comma magazine. So like for me, because my course that I teach is called Spanish and Culture, and I'm like the last 2 years I'm like more and more on the culture train, in terms of like I just want to learn stuff about Ecuador, I want to learn stuff about Paraguay, I want to learn stuff about España, lo que sea. And man, magazines like that where they're actually designed for language learners. You have to subscribe, like that Punto y Comma one's like €100 a year or something. I'll give you the login. Try it out. So it's great when it's still a magazine with the language learner in mind, because it's like, this is a B2, B1 article, so it's like highlighting words, picking up new idioms. So I've been trying to carve out like those dabble power hours, but I'm also been trying to like carve out a cultural reading hour, because there's Punto y Comma for Spanish, Bien Dire for French, which is their subscription isn't as good. You have to buy the like individual articles. And then there's one actually I just trying this month. It's still a little over my head, so I think I'm going to unsubscribe and try to get later. It's called Deutsch Perfect, which is like the German equivalent of these. But man, like cultural magazines is
by the way,
shtick.
There's a good one for Chinese too.
Okay.
It's got a funny name. It's called the Chairman's Bow.
Weird.
That's weird.
So this that's like said for the keep those advanced levels up. And Mario Vargas Llosa on El País, the author, I always read his articles. So it's always like expanding one's resources.
Yeah, but like I've said before, I mostly do my language learning through listening and speaking. But reading is I've done it more recently, and especially taking part of good journalism, which I always enjoy, because the journalists usually have a very, very good vocabulary.
Oh yeah.
But and you can find some really good expressions from there as well. Like another newspaper that I've been reading, I've been keeping up with it ever since I lived in Colombia, is El Espectador, which is the biggest newspaper in Colombia. So every once in a while I go in there and read a couple articles, get the latest on the situation there.
Yeah, that's a good, I remember in Nicaragua, I think even before I went, like La Prensa was the big one in Nicaragua. And there's a TV news show, La Confidencial. It's like only pretty much Nicaraguans would be watching this, but to expand in and as a language learner, and then just also, that was the particular country I was going to. Of course, I'm going to watch that. I'm not going to watch something else, like, because then you get the contexto.
Right, and learning about politics in all these different countries is so interesting.
Oh, hell yeah.
If you're interested in in like trying to understand, like right now, I'm learning so much about the situation here in Spain, and it's so polarized. Like you think it's polarized in the US, like here it's way worse. Like I was talking to my boss, like if what happened in the US happened in Spain, they'd burn down the entire country.
Counting.
Yeah, like this whole slow counting and different candidates saying that they won, that would go absolutely crazy here. But stuff like that in different countries as well, and like how like what's like the populist agenda in that country, and trying to understand the situation, like where are all the tensions and like what do people care about, like how do people think in these countries politically, is very interesting.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah,
and that's like, why journalism is such a good way in immersing yourself in this culture as well.
Yeah, and I find journalism, like, I'm understanding it more. Like I still try the odd time to take a crack at literature in a foreign language, and man, it still kicks my ass. Like I mean, I can get a lot, but like just in terms of, I have a few Spanish books here on my shelves, like there's some, like, actually some books written by journalists are better. Like there's a great one if you want a crazy read on the train of death in Mexico, La Bestia, how like all the Central American migrants come up to the border. It's called Enrique's Journey. Sorry, I forget the author's name, but it's on you get this one in Spanish, man, like solid read in Spanish. And it's not like Gabriel Garcia Marquez language, is just like the facts language. So stuff like that I find
I bet that if I started doing that, I would get really into it.
No, it's
I found some good literature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I'm gonna read a book, I definitely prefer like very realistic kind of nonfiction stuff.
Right.
Stuff that's like actually like real life stories or history or something like that. Something you can like actually relate to.
Yeah. Just like two birds stoned. The culture and the language.
Yeah. All those Rickyisms.
Yeah, I was watching some we were watching last night.
Yeah, by the way, if you're learning English and you want to learn about Canadian
Trailer Park.
Recommended. Lingoholics endorsed.
You know who loves Trailer Park Boys?
What, you?
Yes, but more. A nationality of a country that loves Trailer Park Boys.
Mexican?
Germans.
What?
Germans?
Yeah.
Why do Germans love Trailer Park Boys?
I don't know. We had the German people that came over to Alberta last year. They loved Trailer Park Boys.
Really?
Yeah.
So they okay.
Swedes love Trailer Park Boys too. Like Trailer Park Boys is huge in Europe, especially like Northern Europe. Like huge.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, man.
Best show ever.
Whatever you get interested in like because not even just to learn English, they probably just find it like
not to learn English, just definitely not to learn.
Not academic.
Well, it's not even English.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Actually,
comedy. So AJ put on a Mexican comedian for me the other night, and man, like I think beyond literature, comedy is the highest realm.
Wait, guys, I just thought of something. Imagine Trailer Park Boys, but in Spanish. Like imagine Rickyisms in Spanish.
Yeah.
That'd be so funny.
Comedy, man.
Yeah, comedy is great. And if you can start understanding, let's say Mexican comedy, like your Spanish must be pretty advanced, right?
Right, but the one he was showing me, I was getting not a lot. Like you kind of get the context, but man, like the speed. I think we were talking about the variables, like the speed they talk at, the la jerga the comedians use, and it's the references. It's so specific to Mexico.
Yeah.
So yeah, he showed me that. Yeah. But I was like, well, it's like, is this the same for you in English? Because then we watched some Chappelle, but he was getting it all too. So I just find Spanish comedians, damn, like that's
maybe I'll do that more. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll search up some good Spanish comedians
on Netflix.
Try to see if I can understand it.
Yeah, man, take a crack at it. So I don't know, boys, how we feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. What are you guys doing for the rest of the day?
I got to set a little NFL fantasy lineup here.
How's that going for you?
Not a great season. I'm in a season-long one. Tons of injuries. It's not great. But I do every Sunday one with some of the boys. We set the lineup for the day. So
nice. Is it as fun as baseball?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Huh. FanDuel's fun.
Yeah, FanDuel's really fun.
Doing that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. My problem with the NFL is that they're all Americans. It's very monolingual.
Yeah, you don't get
anyone from anywhere else. Every once in a while, you get like a German kicker, right, or something like that.
Oh yeah, I guess the soccer connection, eh?
Yeah, but you don't. You never get like a quarterback from Venezuela or lo que sea. I don't know.
Yeah. It's not like baseball where it's like a third Latino, if not higher.
Yeah.
And then like a few Koreans, Japanese.
It's not. Yeah, that's what I like about baseball. Like you get that diversity.
That article on The Score a few months ago about what's it like being a translator in a baseball dugout.
I watched a video on that. I watched the video where they interviewed Vladdy Guerrero Jr.'s translator.
Yeah. It's like something like that's actually fascinating. There's a guy on the Rockies here, Raimel Tapia from the Dominican. So I just like typed in Raimel Tapia entrevista, and there's a bunch of stuff, man. He's like talking like puro Dominicano. I was like, oh my god.
I do that a lot. I look up sports stars when they speak in their respective languages.
And and then also living with AJ, he watches a ton of football. So branching into some Mexican football, and then Bundesliga, I'm trying to do a bit of work on too.
Yeah, so
understanding. So sports and languages, beautiful combination as well.
Yeah.
Another thing is like, so Marcus, you saying that you watch sports stars being interviewed in their own languages. Something that I've like stumbled upon is like, movie star, like English speaking movie stars, like footage of them speaking other languages. Like that's kind of
cool. But they all suck.
Hey, some of them are pretty good.
Some are pretty good.
Not like Americans.
Will Smith speak Spanish?
Yeah, but come on, man. Kobe Bryant's from Italy. He's born in Italy, right?
He grew up in Italy.
He grew up in Italy. He grew up in Italy because his dad played basketball in Italy. Right. So he speaks. Kobe Bryant is his Spanish or his Italian is fantastic. I don't know how he speaks Spanish. I haven't seen it, but I have listened.
When he passed, I know some teachers were finding clips to show.
But his Italian is obviously amazing. But he grew up in Italy, so that doesn't count. But otherwise, it's pretty bad. Like the Americans learning Spanish, like the actors. But if you look at some of these, so a great example is looking at European soccer stars. So for example, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Ibra, my fellow Swedish countryman.
Okay. Yeah.
He is like this. He barely graduated high school. Like he's not known to be an academic. Let's leave it at that. He's not known to be an academic, but he speaks a bunch of different languages because he's lived in every single European country. He's played soccer or football in every single European country. So for example, there's this video of him when he came to LA and he played for the LA Galaxy for a couple of years. So he just got off the plane and he's doing this press conference, right? And he comes in there. He's like, "Oh, I haven't slept in 24 hours. I'm very jet lagged." Look at in English. But he's like, you can see that he's really tired. But still, they ask him questions. Obviously, there's reporters from all over the world. So he starts in English and he answers his questions. And English is not great, but it's still pretty good. Yeah. But it's not great, obviously. And then a Swedish reporter is there and asks him a question in Swedish. So he obviously goes over to Swedish and then he speaks a little Swedish. And then the Italian reporter comes and he does a question in like fluent Italian, like perfect Italian, essentially. But then, I mean, like he speaks a little bit of French and a little bit of Spanish as well. So you can find videos on YouTube where he speaks his language as well. Yes. So like, and I mean, like this guy probably has never studied any of these languages meticulously.
No, survival.
Like that he's just like in the locker room shooting the shit with the boys, you know?
Yeah.
And there's another really good example of. Do you guys know who Pep Guardiola is?
No idea.
He's one of the most famous soccer coaches ever in the history of the sport, right? So he's from here, Barcelona, but he right now he's coaching Manchester City.
Okay.
But he's coached Bayern München, and he's coached all these other teams, right? He played in Italy for a while, so he speaks very good. Obviously, he speaks Catalan and Spanish perfectly. Very good Italian, obviously, because he lived there for such a long period of time. He speaks good German. And obviously great English as well.
Right.
So these European professionals, especially these soccer stars that move around all the time, because Ian, we've talked about this before. The economics of soccer is pretty crazy. Yeah. Open capitalism, unrestrained capitalism. So basically, these players get sold everywhere all the time. Mm-hmm. So they're basically bouncing in between European countries and European languages all the time, which is why all these stars, superstars, and all these coaches, they speak at least like 4 or 5 different languages.
Yeah. I guess just more of like a hockey background or like being a hockey fan. Actually, when you like dig into it, like lots of the Swedish, Norwegian guys, like here in Canada, okay, yeah, they're from Sweden, they're from Norway or whatever, but like you kind of forget how back home they're like huge, right? Like I know like Matt Zuccarello, I think he's like a god in Norway, right? And how he like just when he communicates with the Norwegian press here when he's playing in the NHL, like obviously it's just Norwegians that are watching that, but it's like such a huge audience. Or like I can only imagine how big, like is Henrik Lundqvist like pretty massive?
So he's massive. He's not like Ibrahim, like, so here's the thing. Hockey's big in Sweden, but it's not soccer. It's just not soccer, but it's still big. But what I would say still, like these guys are superstars for sure.
Yeah.
But there's still probably more they're probably bigger stars in Canada still than they are in
That's
Sweden.
Interesting.
Like Henrik Lundqvist is obviously very recognizable, but let's take a guy like Victor Hedman.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
If he were to walk in downtown Toronto, he would be very recognizable. Like a lot of people would come up to him.
Correct.
Ask for his autograph. He wouldn't be that recognized. He would be more recognizable in downtown Toronto than in Stockholm.
Interesting. Okay.
For sure. I'm pretty confident in saying that. And all these other stars like William Nylander, obviously he plays in Toronto, so that doesn't really count. Let's take some other random person.
Well, here in Calgary, what's his name?
So Lindholm, for example.
Yeah.
Lindholm, he's probably way more recognizable in Canada than in Sweden. Elias Pettersson, same thing. Yeah. Much more recognizable here than in Sweden.
But I feel like certain guys can raise the profile though. Like Leon Draisaitl right now, I think is
in Germany. Yeah, he's probably a big, very well known in Germany. But it does matter. Like it does matter that they're not playing in Sweden anymore. I mean, a lot of Swedes follow the NHL, but it's not as big as in Canada. Like these players are still more recognized. They're superstars here.
Yeah.
They're not super. They've left. They're expats.
Yeah, word.
Which means that they're. I don't know. You're never gonna. When it comes to hockey, you're never gonna beat Canada. It's impossible to beat Canada in terms of interest.
Number one.
Let's keep it that way.
No, but in terms of like interest and people caring about the sport.
Yeah. That's cool. All right, boys.
All right. How are we feeling? And now I think we're pushing like an hour and a half. Nice. That's a solid pod. Pod 15. Yo, I don't think we're going to do another pod maybe for another week or so. This is basically our half birthday, boys. That's right. Happy birthday. Happy half birthday. Happy half birthday. So, little bebe taking some steps. Yeah, we're getting there. So, boys, very casual pod. I love it. Very casual. Really fun. It's good today. Thanks to the listener. Subscribe on whichever medium you're using, whatever podcatcher, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn. Subscribe on YouTube. We're going to be getting some shorter content out here. And yeah, the Lingoholics train keeps on rolling. Winter in Alberta or sunshine in Barca. We're here for you. That's right. All right, boys. Thanks. Appreciate it. Sounds good. And we are